If you visit the website now, you'll simply see a letter written by the original founder of the site, Orkut himself. One particularly interesting line is that he says, "Our online tools should serve us, not divide us. They should protect our data, not sell it. They should give us hope, not fear and anxiety." And that's clearly a sentiment shared by many, that social media ended up taking a much darker path than people originally hoped. But still, for Google, after Orkut didn't work out, they went right back to the drawing board and very quickly launched another social network attempt. Google Friend Connect was launched in 2008 and allowed any website owner to turn their own page into a social platform. You could log in with your Google account and see which of your friends were using that same site and share comments on the website. But once again, this failed. So in 2009, they launched Google Wave, and this time articles popped up saying Google Wave could threaten Facebook and Twitter, with analysts saying Wave was possibly the most comprehensive entrant into the social networking business. It was described as combining features of email, instant messaging, blogging, wikis, multimedia management, and document sharing, whilst offering a variety of social networking features too. And if that sounds a little confusing, that's because it was. Users found it complicated to use, and it never took off. But Google was clearly adamant they wanted a social network. So in 2010, they launched a new project called Google Buzz. And this time, Google had the idea to integrate this new service with Gmail, which made sense in theory as they could then capitalize on the massive user base they already had rather than starting from zero users. The problem was, this implementation was horrible. Gmail users were surprised to find one day that they were now part of Google Buzz even though they hadn't signed up for it, and suddenly their email contact list and some other Gmail data had been made public. For example, their most frequent email contacts were added as friends on Google Buzz, and anyone you shared emails with was added as one of your followers, which for many was awkward as they may not want certain areas of their lives to overlap like this. This not only resulted in many angry users, but also a class action lawsuit which Google ultimately settled for millions of dollars later in 2010. So basically, while the integration with Gmail was supposed to give Google Buzz a massive boost, it backfired completely and ended up making the whole Google Buzz service very short-lived. It was eventually pulled completely after privacy concerns and controversy around weak security. Once again, Google had failed with social networking. So after failing to buy Friendster, then launching and failing 4 separate social products, Orkut, Friend Connect, Wave, and Buzz, it was time for a new strategy. It was time for Google's biggest social network project of all. In 2010, Google was growing increasingly concerned about Facebook. Facebook was consuming more and more of users' time online, and the average minutes per visitor was increasing faster for Facebook than Google. Not just that, but Facebook's ad model had potential to really hurt Google's ad business. In many ways, Facebook had created the best ad machine possible. Users voluntarily told Facebook exactly who they were, what they liked, and what their interests were, and thus for advertisers, they were willing to pay a lot of money. Because with Google ads, you could reach people who are already actively searching for something, but with Facebook, you could advertise to exactly your ideal customer and introduce them to things they didn't even know they wanted yet. And as if this wasn't worrying enough for Google, Facebook was growing so fast that they were poaching quite a lot of Google's top employees from them. So the fear of Facebook moved Google into action. It was time to take social networking much more seriously. And it was really a man named Vik Gundotra who was the driving force behind Google+. He joined Google in 2007 as vice president of social, and he very quickly became concerned by the growing influence of Facebook and how much power it could harness from all the personal data it was collecting. Around this point, Larry Page, one of the original co-founders of Google, had returned as CEO, and Vik was constantly telling Larry about how serious the threat of Facebook was. Eventually, Larry agreed and put Vik in charge of a new project called Google+. After multiple failures, Google was determined to make Google+ a success,